Hey folks, welcome to a guide. This time I'm going to cover the fists or claws. There is like a minor difference, by the way, between fists and claws. Very minor. It does revolve around like one skill, and that is tiger claws. You can only use this if you have clawed fists as opposed to your traditional fists. And just in case someone is curious, fists, what they have over claws is that fists do more ki damage than claws. That's something I can talk about outside of a video like this, but just in case you wanted to know. But let's get on to the fists. Identity of the fists, I'm sure many players have seen this, and it's actually one of the weapons that I find that most players do really well with, because it's also a weapon that they do seem to understand, and that is functioning around the unbroken mechanic. The fists, or the claws in my case, basically rewards you for chaining skills together by giving you a pretty good damage boost. These weapons, as is pretty obvious, is very much close range, so in order for it to work, you need to be close range. But I find that players actually get trapped by just chasing for the damage aspect of the stacks, as opposed to connecting skills together. Now, you have Mystic Arts, which greatly facilitates this. I'm actually using the one that reduces my ki consumption against enemies while I'm dealing with them. But the other one basically makes it so that if you manage your ki well, recover the full ki from a ki pulse, then you can extend the stacks. And that's a thing. Most players, when they play this, pretty much just run out of ki. And that's a big problem. So even more than the Switchglaive, it's actually really important to manage your ki. If you're worried about, hey, how do I get to stacks really quickly? I can just show you with like the most simplistic of button presses that getting stacks is really not that difficult. It's maintaining your ki. I'm literally just gonna do defensive drop over and over and over again into sunrise. Alright? Without even paying attention. Look at all I'm doing. Getting all the stacks, okay? But I'm basically out of ki, right? So then I guess I can try to attack. And I can do a lot of damage, but oh no, my stacks are gone. What am I gonna do? So you don't really want to get trapped into really just chasing stacks. That's one of the biggest mistakes that I see, because you'll run out of the ability to pressure your opponents. It's really not too bad to get stacks. There's a lot of cool tricks that I can show you so that you can generate stacks pretty easily. So yeah, don't chase stacks. Chase Epone, don't chase stacks. Okay, got that out of my system. So chasing stacks is a common trap, but let me show you another way that you can generate stacks just for peace of mind. So believe it or not, pre-shifting with the fists works beautifully in regards to chaining stacks, and I kind of did it before. So in high stance, I have spinning kick. All right, high stance, I've got what's that kick called? I don't even remember. What's it called? Kick cycle. Wow, I'm dumb. So I was actually pre-shifting my stances to rapidly gain some stacks. I was doing kick cycle in high stance, and then switching to low stance to do Ocean Zephyr over and over again to quickly get some stacks, alright? Requires some fast fingers, but my point just being, there are a lot of ways you can generate stacks, and that's not what you should be chasing. Instead, it's important to use your abilities wisely so that you can punish your opponents. So let me talk about that when it comes to the overall skill tree and how to play these so that we can work well with the weapon. So with the fists, there's some very telling passives in the same way which we had them for the split staff, and I can't seem to remember where it is. Here it is. So melee damage gets boosted against enemies that have less than zero ki or less. So if you're keeping your enemies low on ki, continuously pressured, you're doing a good job. There are a lot of simple ways to do that, but I'm pretty sure you want more than just, alright, I'm just going to spam Archer's Impact for 3 years, and I'm going to do just high stance attacks for days because they don't get deflected. The best fist players, in my opinion, are able to keep up the pressure while just moving around and keeping their ki high, especially against yokai. Against humans, it's really not too difficult because humans don't do well in terms of... Actually, why am I fighting a yokai to demonstrate this? But against humans, you have a lot of tools to mercilessly punish them, and so let me just show you what it's like, just straight high stance spam gameplay, which does work. Alright, I can just do this over and over again. Battering ram, he's out of key. Alright, let's just do high stance attacks. Alright, let's do Archer's Impact. Okay, use the Soul Core so I don't have to worry about it. Like, it just becomes derivative very fast. And yeah, you can do that. And of course it's like, whoa, fists are so rigged and overpowered. I'm like, well, you are using them right. You are supposed to keep the pressure going. You are supposed to keep its skills chaining. And you are doing a good job by using active skills against enemies that are blocking. So yes, it works, and it works really well. But against yokai, you don't have such luxury. And so what many players rely upon is just, alright, let me do whopping amounts of damage, or let me break a horn and try to get him out of key, and then just use yokai abilities, spam attacks. And so it just doesn't feel necessarily as, I guess, deliberate, if that's the best word to use. So let's get into how you can work with the fists in a more mindful way, involving pre-shifting. So one thing that's really cool, and this is yet again a tease for all sorts of tech that I have yet to teach, is that for whatever reason, you know how there's skill enders, so let me show you the skill enders in low stance and mid stance respectively that I have assigned. Okay, I forget what that is. Fracture Foe. Then you got Knife Hand Strike that I put in mid stance. Then high stance I have Fist of Reckoning. Alright. What's interesting is you can start with a high stance quick attack, and if you change to mid or low stance, you can follow up with those stances' respective skill enders. So check this out. I'm going to do Knife Hand Strike. High stance quicks. Fracture Foe. Kinda neat, huh? Unfortunately, the reverse I do not believe is true. Let's verify this. Oh, it is true. So Knife Hand Strike and Fracture Foe. You can do them in any stance. Now we know. So that can help you chain in between the stances. I certainly don't think that was intended whatsoever. Kinda cool, huh? This will be valuable when I introduce manual parry disabled, but for now it's just, hey, you can switch your stances pretty fluidly, and also you can pre-shift into other stances to help you generate stacks, so pretty cool, huh? I think it even applies to battering ram. Yeah, so I can do a high stance strong into a mid stance battering ram, and it still works. But with the fist, get comfortable with pre-shifting so you can generate stacks more easily and without having to worry about rapidly generating stacks. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to, after Fist of Reckoning and high stance, pre-shift into low stance and then keep attacks going from there. Alright, and I'll still generate stacks. Back to high stance. Back to low stance. Got my stacks. Alright? Alright, I'm going to do low stance and then go into mid stance. Pre-shifting, of course. And now into high stance. So yeah, that's another way you can get stacks. You don't just have to stick with the same stance that you are in order to generate stacks. So you don't have to do things like kick cycle into spinning kick into kick cycle if you don't want to. You can do Archer's Impact, go into spinning kick into kick cycle, and then start doing low stance attacks, then doing mid stance attacks, and then doing whatever else you want. Alright? So don't worry about that stack generation. Instead, it is really important to know when to stop, when to keep pulse, so that you can keep your power plays going. Speaking of another way to assist you in keeping your power plays going, and just staying in on all the action with the fists, there is the ability, which is not there, the ability Rising Gale, which is yet another on-key pulse ability. As with the dual swords and the tonfa, you can flux to after it as well to get extra key back. So if you're, say, running low on key after, say, going for a full-on Dempsey roll, Fist of Reckoning, Then do Rising Gale, Flux 2 after, you get a whopping amount of ki back, which is yet another reward for pausing just for a brief bit. And as you get more comfortable and you can start sequencing things, then you can really up the play, which feels great. Battering Ram, get some ki back. Look at that, back to full, what the crap. Rising Gale, get some ki back, keep the pressure going, pause for just a little bit, get your stacks back. Oh, I messed that up, that's okay. Pretty cool, huh? Another great reason to use it. And just manage your ki, huh? Pretty neat. But okay. Awesome. So work with that, get comfortable with pre-shifting to assist you in your stack management. It is really good. And then another incentive is that you can do knife hand strike in any stance if you just start an attack and then switch to the stance that is relevant in. You can do that. Same with fracture foe. It'll again take some fast fingers, but you can do it. Fist of Reckoning is the exception to this. But yeah, that and Rising Gale and Fluxing 2 right after can really assist you in allowing you to keep the pressure going. And of course, if you mix in yokai abilities, it gets that much easier. Again, this requires a lot of fast fingers, so please do practice that. But let's take a look at some other things that are really awesome. So I guess I'll talk about Sunrise. Sunrise actually has 3 different options in regards to, and you can't really see it. So Sunrise actually has 3 different ways in which you can approach the ability. So if you just do if you're prone on the ground, the defensive drop gets you ready to do Sunrise. You can either just move the stick, and what that will do is it will enable you to parry various enemies. So if you are fortuitous enough to be able to predict when an enemy is going to attack, you just move the stick and you'll drop them down. So that's option 1. If you just let go of L1, it also does the same thing. Or just press L1. Is it just any button? Oh, looks like it is pretty much any of the primary buttons. Don't want to dodge. Okay, if you do an attack. Okay, let's see. Do square. Or you could just move the stick. You can press L1. Okay, so you got a few options. So maybe it'd be easier if you just pressed square, and then you can kind of attempt to parry a weapon and parry a human and knock them down. If you press triangle in place, you'll do that. The spinning kick, which is really cool. Also, if you do triangle and a direction, you'll dart off in that direction. Generally, I believe it's only a forward direction though. But let me verify that for you. Oh. Just any direction. Let me see if it matters if I am locked on and looking at a target incorrectly. Yeah, I think it generally the game has to register it as a forward motion. Oh. Oh, that didn't show you the timing at all. Yeah, I guess it's generally towards your target. It's a bit tricky. But yeah, if you're locked onto your target, you can basically dart to them. If you're moving forward relative to your character, that's generally the safest way I would advise it. But okay, let's talk about the timing for that. Basically, I would just move my stick, basically on the same timing as I would do a Timely Guard. So haste timing, Timely Guard timing, Phantom Burst, counter timing, virtually the same. Pretty much, that's what I would advise. And what's nice is that since you're prone, you don't have to worry about a lot of attacks. Pretty cool, huh? Aw, I should have done it sooner. Try it again. But yeah, it's pretty generous, so you can just get a hang of just moving the stick, knocking them to the ground. Let's see if I can sequence actually anything after. It only works with just like just get up normally. Come on, attack me, bud. This is awkward. It looks like it's an isolated ability. Yeah, Zuna Drop's awesome. So, okay, there's that. Sunrise is just a normal attack. And then if you do it with the direction, you'll do that really cool kick. So yeah, another really cool timing-based ability for the fists. So there's two of them. I'll talk about, there's a lot of options here. I'll talk about Takedown first. Takedown has follow-ups to it, which are really cool. So you can go up to Takedown 3 and launch them into the ground, pull them down as well. It's pretty cool. So what's the timing for this? This actually only works on human opponents. It would be funny if you could like suplex Itsumade. I'm not gonna lie. Timing for this is the same as with Sunrise, more or less. Timely guards, haze, etc. And if you can be fortuitous enough to, or lucky enough to knock them into the air, it feels so good. All right, it's pretty cool. It's definitely a fun one. It feels so like out of place at times. Cool, huh? So definitely mess around with that. Again, it's the same timing as before. I believe you can, yeah, you can sequence abilities after that, I think. I'll have to, let me test that a few times. I'm not actually sure because I don't use Takedown nearly as much. Try it again. Nope, doesn't seem to generate me stacks. That's unfortunate. Still sick, though. Oh, but I can if I decide not to go for the cool move. But why wouldn't you want to go for the cool move? Oh, come on, buddy. Alright, let's give you a good old Zuna Drop. But alright, last but not least, there is the absolutely amazing Opportunist. Alright, Opportunist is downright, I think, considered by many to be like the coolest and best parry in the game. And best is a subjective term. It's certainly one of the coolest, that's for sure. So Opportunist timing is basically the same as Takedown's timing, is the same as Phantom Burst Count's timing. So when it comes to parry timing with the fists, it's all pretty much the same, which is awesome. But here's something you may not know about when it comes to Opportunist, which does, by the way, work against Yokai. And I did a pretty terrible demonstration of it. So same timing as before. It works on any attack. You can actually sequence multiple back-to-back. Which is awesome. I didn't have to press block again. It could just keep pressing triangle back-to-back. And it does work on Yokai. Let me showcase it against... I was hoping he'd allow me to do it on that burst attack where he like attacks like 50 times. But I'll just showcase it against a human since it'll be a little easier to follow. So Opportunist, you can just chain these back-to-back with triangles. I'll worry about the timing element of the follow-ups in a bit. But I want him to start doing some pretty standard attacks. Ah, I did it too early. Come on, mid-stance quicks, please. Ah. Come on. Oh, well, he's just gonna get blocked. High stance, just do a lot of high stance. Perfect. You see how I could block those and I was holding guard and just pressing triangle at the right time? It's really nice. And I can just ready it over and over again. Alright. Let me try to showcase against a Yoki. Maybe he'll be able to do some of the faster attacks. But again, you can just keep pressing triangle to block things over and over again. And then I actually, on my fists, have Opportunist bonus key recovery, so I can rapidly maintain my key, which is just so good. It's so good. Totally recommend it. See, I didn't even have to keep pulse in between, I'm just holding block. I failed that time. Could even do that on the burst attack. Come on, I need some fast attacks, buddy. Not too bad, huh? It certainly feels pretty crazy. I need that super fast attack to show off. Come on. Come on! Yeah, you can practice in the dojo, and it'll feel pretty good. Again, the same timing as Phantom Burst attack, or burst counter. Oh, I missed that opportunity. Come on, do the burst attack where you like attack 5 years. But yeah, come on, do it one time, please. No. One time, one time. Close, but you see the idea there. I almost got all the hits. I actually forgot there was a 5th hit. But yeah, so you can use Opportunist to do all sorts of really stylish things. So even against enemies like Yoshitsune, who uses his Sohyamaru against you, you can just basically rapid fire triangle, or just rapid fire Opportunist over and over again just by pressing triangle. And it's so awesome, and it feels really good. So hey, if you want to do Daigo parries, you want to replicate Evo Moment 37? Well, now you freaking can with a push of a button. It feels really awesome. But okay, enough about the parries for the fists. Let's talk about some other things. I won't get into Beyond Infinity timing because that's just something that's going to suck practicing. I have mentioned Rise and Gale, and let's see what I can discuss. Oh yeah, another thing that's interesting. So Archer's Impact has a follow-up Tiger Claw, right? Is it Tiger Claw or Tiger's Claw? I'm never really sure. Tiger Claws. So neither of the ones I was talking about. So Tiger Claws kind of works differently depending upon when you actually put the follow-up. So if you wait for the full Archer's Impact, I need to show this distance-wise. So let's start from here. You wait, then do the follow-up, you'll get kind of one motion. But if you press Tiger Claws like almost immediately, it kind of works a little differently. I'll have to show this on a human. Against humans, it tracks much better if you press it pretty much right after you do Archer's Impact. I need a better, clearer path. Okay, this will work. Alright, come on. Right there, it missed. That sucked, right? If you're at range, then you can do it at range, and it works reasonably well. But if you're up close, you want to pretty much press it right away, so that you have a greater likelihood of hitting. This is not working out as I hoped. See how I kind of pushed him in the direction that I'd like him to be? And it felt really good. But if I didn't do it right, and this will ultimately take some practice, but it does depend when you decide to do the follow-up. For whatever reason, I thought it would be the same, but yeah, you want to make sure to press it basically immediately after you do Archer's Impact. So you can do that. It just feels so much cleaner. Dude, he doesn't have the range, man. So bear that in mind when you are trying to do Archer's Impact into a Tiger Claws. Let's see what else I can inform you before I take off. Maybe like one more thing. I've already talked about Rising Gale, Ocean Zephyr, Flying Fist, Iron Grip. I'll talk about that another time. We're talking about Battering Ram. Oh yeah, one more thing. Just one more thing. Kick Cycle. So the ability doesn't actually show it. You don't have to commit to the full animation of it. So you know how there's the no, that's not Kick Cycle. So depending on how long you press it, you can actually get 3 variations of this. So I can stop and avoid the backflip, or I can just do the real quick kicks. That's hard to say. So there is a difference. See? So you don't always have to go for the full kick cycle, which is weird. Which is why I was able to do stuff like this. Pretty neat, huh? You can be even faster than that. Just like a little kick. This is actually what Lastalode used in his submission for the first to 9 events, in which he basically took advantage of this fact to have it get counted as a skill without going too hard into the animations. So yeah, there's super quick kick. There's that kick. And then there's a full animation. So yeah, that first kick is really difficult to pull off. Basically like the quickest of taps ever, just like the briefest hold. Just in case you wanted to know that. In any case, I'm going to leave it at that for the fists. I'm sure you'll have your hands full just working in, pre-shifting, and not worrying about stacks so you can manage ki on top of the whole Rising Gale Flux 2 stuff. Amongst the whole, hey, let's just do knife hand strike, fracture foe. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of practice. So begin with that alongside the parry stuff that I talked about. And then that will give you a nice serious edge into being able to use those abilities at the very least. We haven't even discussed how you can use those abilities in conjunction with yokai abilities. So yeah, it's going to be a real mess. So make sure you get comfortable with that before we progress any further. In any case, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys next time.